how's it going, everybody? It is Skullzi here with the latest and the greatest next-gen gaming news. For a while now, the talk about the next generation of gaming consoles has been increasing exponentially, which is super exciting. I'm talking about that PS5, that Xbox whatever, and that Nintendo eventually, whenever it eventually decides to catch up with the next generation. Nothing against Nintendo, they're just always on their own time frame, which actually probably works out for them in the end. But anyway, ever since last year, there's been a lot of talk going on about the next generation of gaming, and now almost every other day we get some kind of story or rumor, whether it's leaked, bullshit, or actually official, about the PS5 and the Xbox whatever. Sometimes it's from game developers talking about their actual official next generation games out in the open, to actually Sony and Microsoft talking about their future projects, although Sony just talks about not talking about it, and Microsoft just talks about exciting things without saying what it's related to, when everyone knows exactly what it's related to, Microsoft. But anyway, there has been, in addition to all of this next generation stuff now, a lot, in fact a huge recent wave of jobs being posted for games that even specifically say they're looking for people with experience with next generation gaming technology, which is weird that one, they would even put that into the game description, because that's a big giveaway right there, and two, who actually has experience with the next generation of gaming technology? I mean, you would think that they would have to go into the future to do that, but I guess the dev kits have been released to game developers for more than a year now, so I'm sure there are people with at least a year of experience on these, so that's probably what they're talking about. Even though we think that it's crazy that someone has experience on these future consoles, behind the scenes they're out there and people are probably test playing these things right now. So haters, oh, I know you're mad, you don't have the PS5. But anyway, like I said, there's a lot of jobs being listed, and in fact, one of the most exciting ones for most people, maybe not me personally because I'm not a big Call of Duty fan anymore, but Infinity Ward put a job listing up on their official website and on LinkedIn looking for people specifically for an unannounced next-gen title. You can see here it specifically says next-gen, and what interests me is temporary, which is put up in the Associate Game Designer job category. There's a lot of job descriptions here. They're just all, in general, what you'd expect from an Infinity Ward job listing: experience and passion for first-person shooters, focus on game design or computer science, programming, stuff like that, familiarity with editing tools that Infinity Ward uses, just general stuff here. But one thing that totally interests me is the fact that it says temporary. Some people think that this is going to be a launch title for the next generation of gaming, which obviously I would think is going to happen. Call of Duty would definitely want to put a launch title on the PS5 and the Xbox whatever, but there is already, I think, an announced Call of Duty coming out in 2022. This could be one that just happens to come out earlier. However, I think it's actually going to be a remaster of Black Ops 3 or something else that will launch as a next-gen launch Call of Duty. I'm not exactly sure what it will be, but the fact that it says temporary leads me to believe that. Of course, game developers always hire people on a temporary basis, so that might not mean anything, and that just might mean until the game is developed. Who knows? But here is an official job listing for the next generation Call of Duty. And then even further, we have game developers, major ones, talking about next gen now, just talking about what they'd like to see, which is strange that everyone, like I said, is just suddenly talking about the next generation of gaming. But Ubisoft and the developers of Assassin's Creed Odyssey had something interesting to say. They said that they would love, of course, better visuals and more power, but that's a given. They want specifically the ability to upgrade and update the games in an easier way in terms of both updating graphics and submitting updates on the fly. That would be awesome if game developers could just add stuff to the game and in fact somehow improve the graphics and kind of like instant patches. That way you don't have to wait like an hour or 15, even 20 minutes could be a big pain in the ass when you're trying to play a game and you don't have that much time, but there's an update all of a sudden. I think if there's an easier way for updates to be implemented for both consumers and for game developers to put them into the games, I think that would definitely be a huge improvement for the next generation of gaming. And Mark Little has some interesting stuff to say too. He says he hates working with Blu-rays. They're limited to a certain amount of gigabytes, and trying to fit everything that you want to fit into one Blu-ray disc is a pain in the ass. Now, I haven't heard of any technology that's going to upgrade or push the Blu-ray out of the market and be like the next disc, but even if there was, games wouldn't adopt it right away. What I think he's trying to say, or probably trying to lean towards, is that he'd like to see games go the all-digital route, which is what Bethesda, Pete Hines, and Todd Howard have been saying, and a few other game developers, and is what they tried to do originally with the PS4 and the Xbox One. I think there's a very good chance that at least more than half of games and content will be all digital with the next generation of gaming. A lot of stuff will be going on with streaming, like Microsoft has been hinting at, and hopefully it will be an easier online experience with easier updates and stuff like Ubisoft wants as well. Now, to go on with these game job listings for next generation, which I get, again, is weird that they put next gen gaming experience in the job listing for everyone and the public and the media to see, but Rocksteady Studios has new job listings on their website that points towards a highly anticipated AAA game that again will be crafted for the next generation platforms. Now, I'm not too familiar with Rocksteady Studios studios, but there's a few theories that the community has about that, but there are more than 20 job listings on their website, everything from character artists to programming to community managers, all with the words next generation platform games in the job listings, which is crazy interesting. And again, this is like the 10th job listing in the last month alone for next generation games, so there's a very big push for next gen games to be developed now, which leads me to believe that something was told to game developers about an actual date that they can expect the PS5 and the Xbox whatever. So there probably is an actual release date behind the scenes in the industry for these consoles, and I'm super excited because we're getting even closer to getting these things and getting the next generation of gaming started. And one final thing, this isn't a job listing, but it kind of goes with next generation of gaming technology because Intel recently has shown the 9th generation of CPU core chips at a recent hardware event, the Core i9-990K, which Intel says is the best gaming processor in the world and is gonna kickstart the next generation of gaming technology. So with all these job listings in mind, with all these game developers openly talking about their next generation of games, and with even Sony and Microsoft both talking and not talking about next generation gaming technology as well, and with these rumors going back as far as 2017, with the original rumor being that game developers had in their hands as of more than a year ago the last actual test kits for the next generation of gaming consoles, I'd say that the PS5 and the Xbox whatever are coming very soon, no later than 2020. I say that their date is 2019. That's something I've always been saying, but I think if something goes wrong, maybe with the streaming technology or something, then maybe 2020, because after all, one of the world's biggest markets for these games is the United States and parts of Europe, and both of these places don't have the best internet yet. And then there's a lot of other countries that don't have good internet too, and streaming technology and stuff like that would require pretty good internet, so it's interesting to see how they would kind of push this stuff onto the consumer, knowing that not all of the consumers have the internet to actually use some of the streaming technology. Now, I'll get more into that streaming technology more in a future video, but for now, I want to know what you think about all of this. What do you think about all of these job listings from all of these major studios, all saying specifically and weirdly enough right in the public that they're looking for developers to develop next generation games? Let me know down in the comments below, and if your comment wins the internet and may be featured in a future video. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Twitch, check out Discord, go to Patreon if you want to have behind the scenes access almost every day about future content and unlock unique and custom rewards. And if you haven't pre-ordered Fallout 76 yet, you can now. Don't waste any more time and pre-order it now for $45. Go to http://www.scdkey.com/sk/Skullzi. You're gonna save some money, and at the same time, you're gonna help the channel as well. So to get the best value for your money and get digital game keys and software for the cheapest price ever, and get Fallout 76 pre-ordered for only $45 freaking dollars, go to the link down in the description below or type what I put up on screen here. Make sure you use this link, that way you get the savings and you support the channel as well. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when Bethesda puts up a job listing for people to program the next wave of the Todd Howard clones.
Bye, have a great time.